Welcome back. You're watching the South African Morning, and people arrested for violent crimes will now have to undergo mandatory DNA testing. The legal amendment aims to bring justice for victims and help identify repeat offenders. It comes into effect at the end of this month. Schedule 8 offenders include rapists and murderers. Action Society has been advocating for DNA testing for a while. The party's spokesperson, Elanie Walt, joins me now from Johannesburg to discuss these details further. Elanie, many thanks for your time this morning. Why has it taken so long for something that one would think is basic in cracking cases in criminal offences take so long?
Morning, hi, and morning to the viewers. I wish I could give you that answer. It's basically just been it's been lying in front of the door of the Minister of Police, who has been dragging his feet to get this section of the law promulgated. It was placed on hold in 2015 already, as part of the DNA Act. But at that stage, the police and they weren't equipped and they didn't have the training to actually do the DNA testing. So in that instance, in 2015, it was placed on hold already. And it just seems that everybody forgot about it and just carried on as normal, where this is such a crucial piece of legislature to get criminals on a database and to stop repeat offences and to link it to cold cases. It was just forgotten about.
Now, and this is going to be absolutely crucial, as you say, to identify repeat offenders, making sure that we are able to identify those who continue to commit crimes and stop them before they are able to do so. That's just one of the things that we're talking about here. But some of the other benefits that will come out of this particular important piece of legislature.
So, besides the repeat offenders, we hope that this will serve as some kind of deterrent, for offenders to know, that their DNA is already on a database. Because Schedule 8 offences is rape, murder, kidnapping, assault with attempt to do grievously bodily harm. So we're hoping at some stage this will become a deterrent for offenders to not repeat offend. But this will also enable the police to solve cold cases. We saw in this week where they arrested a rapist that they've been looking for since 2009. That they eventually got his DNA from one of the cases and could link him to 13 other cases. So DNA is undisputed evidence in court. So it's the only way and means, especially where minors are involved, where you can get a prosecution based on scientific evidence and not on circumstantial evidence.
No, absolutely. I mean, what about efficiencies when it comes to DNA testing and we're trying to solve crime? Are you confident that our systems will be efficient enough to be processing all the DNA testing that will be happening, making sure that all the details are entered onto the database and that police have a very intricate view and knowledge of who's on the system?
Well, look, we are confident, but the fact of the matter is that within the current structures, there are a lot of failures. We know about the DNA backlog, which has been dragging since June 2020. So it will really take effort from ground level police stations and station commanders to drive the DNA testing and to get it done, because if they are to wait for their leadership, it will not happen. The leadership currently of the SAPS is failing the force, and they can't perform as they need to actually do their job. So if everything works and everything is in order and there's no corruption and there's proper training and the contracts are obtained and the people are trained, then we could really see a decrease in GBV and femicide in South Africa, which is, by the way, the pandemic. It's massive and it's huge, and something really needs to be done. Something crucially needs to be done.
Now, absolutely. Elanie, what causes a backlog? You've just spoken about issues of a backlog and the corruption that ensues within. But really, what causes the backlog when you engage with different stakeholders, particularly within the police force? What are they giving as the major reasons?
Well, they're shying away from the whole question, and they're not addressing it, and they're not giving feedback to the public as it is currently. But the history of the DNA backlog in South Africa is very simple. It's Minister Bekitele, who failed to renew contracts with the private firm who ran the system. He preferred to develop his own system with CETA. The system was switched off. There was corruption issues in the procurement department. It's a whole history of things that happened. But it comes down to failed leadership and not recognizing that DNA and DNA sampling is their most effective crime fighting tool. They have started making turnaround plans, and they have started addressing it. But once again, we're not getting feedback to know, since the last time they gave a number on the backlog was September 2021. And we don't think this is fair towards the victims of GBV and families of victims of femicide to not know what's going on. At the last feedback, it would have taken 3 years for someone to get a day in court, and the date for the backlog to be cleared up would be November this year. And I mean, in the meantime, perpetrators are going out on bail. Cases are being struck off the roll. So there's no accountability from government, and specifically the Minister of Police, in this situation.
Elanie van der Walt from Action Society joining us there to speak about an important development around mandatory DNA testing being put into place. An important piece of legislation that you've just mentioned. Many thanks for your time this morning.